feel free to sit on a pillow if you want to, as always. You can also bring a couple blocks to the practice if you want to, or just have them nearby. And yes, once again, we're starting by dropping in a comfortable cross-legged seat or any seated position somewhere near the middle of the mat. Checking in right away with the breath and the spinal alignment. Today we're going to be talking about non-attachment, which is a concept from yoga, but also Buddhism and other Eastern religions that really acts as a pillar of, the foundation of our practice and belief systems. So it's believed in yoga and Buddhism that attachment is the source of all suffering, so that suffering on earth is inherent and to be expected, but the only way that we can avoid it is by practicing non-attachment. So you can still practice love and gratitude and affinity without practicing attachment. So today, while you drop in, just start to think about what that means or what it might mean to you, and how you can be less attached to the outcomes and more present in each moment. So as you're settling in, connecting with the breath, allowing the mind to clear your thoughts, just observing. Just notice through the practice what you get attached to. It might be an expectation to fit a specific shape in a pose or to perform a certain way. It could be just your performance in the practice, expecting a certain outcome, but we're going to practice non-attachment and just accept whatever is. You can carry that principle toward pretty much anything in your day-to-day life, including just the breath. You can think of the breath as its own individual entity, and it is free to come and go as it pleases. Letting go of attachment, letting go of expectation, dropping into the current moment. As I mentioned, we're going to be stretching through the upper back today, the neck and the shoulders. Places where stress, tension, and attachment tend to manifest. So make sure you give yourself the opportunity to let go of what's not serving you. And always remember that this is your practice, so make it your own. As you continue deepening the breath, just notice how you're feeling in the bodies today. So notice how you feel in the physical body, the intellectual body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body, whatever those things mean to you. When you're ready to incorporate movement, do so at your own pace and according to your own needs, but you might start just by drawing small circles with the nose, starting to incorporate a little bit of movement in the neck. You're just really gently noticing what you feel. free to widen those circles as you feel ready. Notice any resistance, any sticking points, any tension. And then move organically, let your body guide you. I like to drop the chin toward the chest to just stretch through the back of the neck, down into the trapezius and the rhomboids. Remembering that everything is connected. The systems of the body work together and nothing is in a vacuum. Feel free to explore any easy organic movement through the neck. Reverse those circles if it feels right. Spend time in a particular spot that feels tough. Breathe through that. Practice non-attachment as you just observe. When you feel good about it, you've got the information that your body is sending you. Take your time and make your way back through center to find stillness. Opening up through the chest, nice spinal alignment. And we're going to bring the left hand to the top of the left knee. We'll bring the right hand to just outside the right hip. And I'm flipping my fingertips up toward my forearm or toward the ceiling as I lower the heel of my hand down. So my hand's not touching the ground here. Yours probably won't either. And we're going to drop the left ear over the left shoulder and bring that left hand just to rest gently on either behind the right ear or just on the right ear, not pulling anything, but just letting the weight of gravity stretch through the back of the neck here. Find some little gentle organic micro movement to help you connect deeper with those muscles or those sensations. Remember, no expectation here, we're just noticing, just being present. You can also explore by moving your hand gently. You can start by drawing small circles with the palm, or maybe just sliding the palm to the left or to the right. Notice what you feel, breathe through it. Try to let something go on your exhale. Take your time here, feel free to explore. When you're ready to take it to the second side, we'll move mindfully, coming back through center, bringing that right palm to the top of the right knee, flipping the left fingertips up toward the forearm and lowering that left palm down toward that left hip. And then dropping that right ear over the right shoulder. Maybe bringing your right hand to the back of the left ear or behind the left ear. Maybe drawing circles with the palm, feel free to explore. Just not forcing anything. Just noticing what you feel. Take your time here, and when you're ready to come back through center, move mindfully like you're moving through water. Once you come back through that centered seated position, we're just going to bring both palms to the left shoulder, left side neck, and give yourself a little massage. So just notice what you feel here. Any lumps or bumps from tension or inflammation. Just give yourself a moment, feel that connection, palms on your neck. Take your time. We're going to do this to both sides. So this is your space. Listen to what your body needs. Remember to stay connected with the breath. Breathe deep into any intense sensations that you feel. Let your body know it's okay to relax. Check out that second side when you're ready. And there's no rules here, so just connect. Maybe just having that skin to skin contact is enough. Listen to your body. Let go of something that's not serving you. And give yourself permission just to relax. Take your time on that second side. When you feel satisfied, we can come back through center. We're gonna incorporate that self-embrace again. So we'll start by bringing palms together, fingertips pointed toward me. Opening up the palms left to right, noticing that range of motion, noticing anything you feel. And then bringing the palms toward one another, right arm under the left, walking the fingertips toward one another on the upper back. Again, just feeling that heat from your palms, that connection. Finding the breath. On your inhale, lift the elbows. And on your exhale, curl the low ribs inward, relax through the head and neck. Take a deep breath, let something go. Deep breaths. Close your eyes if it feels good. Let your body relax. Take a couple more cycles of breath. And then on your next inhale, you can use that to slowly curl up, rise back up to that seated position, open up the palms again. Check out that range of motion a second time. And then bring the palms back toward one another. This time opposite arm goes underneath. Same thing, walking the fingertips toward one another in the upper back. Feeling your own embrace, lifting the elbows with your inhale, and then curling inward, relaxing through the head and neck with your exhale. Stay connected with the breath. Root down through the hips and the sits bones. Come all the way back up to sitting. And from here, we'll roll forward onto all fours. Continue warming up with some cat-cow. So center yourself on the mat. You know what to do. Knees are under the hips, palms are under the shoulders. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, open up through the chest. And exhale, curl the low ribs inward, press into the palms, press away from your mat, sync up with your breath. Move at your own pace. Feel free to take any variation that your body's asking for. Just be open to receiving those messages, to connecting with the breath, to being present. into letting go of anything that's not serving you. Once you feel satisfied with your cat-cow, we're going to stretch through the upper back by threading the needle. So from this neutral tabletop position, be gone, be gone. Plant the right palm in the middle of the mat. You can lift that left palm up toward the ceiling, opening up through the chest. Notice what you feel in the upper back. Breathe deep. And then from here, we're going to thread the needle by bringing that left hand under the right, coming down onto the back of the left shoulder or the left ear, coming all the way down to the mat, and then extending that right arm out long, so toward the top edge of your mat. So feel free to use those right fingertips or right hand to kind of explore a little bit through that upper back stretch. Don't forget to breathe. Noticing what you feel and where you feel it, maybe pressing that left hip over to the left a little bit more. Really stretching through the muscles of the upper back, the rear delts. Let something go on your exhale, and then gently bring that right palm to under the right shoulder to press up and unravel. We'll bring that left hand up toward the ceiling once again, just to check out your range of motion. Notice what you feel. And then when you're ready, we'll bring that left palm back down to the mat and do the same thing on the second side. So plant that left palm in the middle of the mat. Right palm goes up toward the ceiling. Notice what you feel on this side. And then thread the needle, bring that right palm under the left, coming down to the back of the right shoulder, onto the right ear, and extending that left arm out long toward the top edge of the mat. So you can press the right hips over to the right. Feel free to find little micro movements and explore that stretch. Notice how things change. Don't forget to keep breathing. Don't forget to practice non-attachment. Take your time here. Notice what you feel and where. Notice the quality of your breath. Ow, ow. And when you're ready to come out, you can slide that left palm back under the left shoulder to come back up to that neutral spine. From here, we'll bring the big toes into touch, send the knees wide, hips back toward the heels, reaching the palms forward, forehead to the mat, extended child's pose. Feel free to walk it left or right if you want to stretch through the hips a little bit more. Feel free to find stillness if it feels good, or maybe just roll the forehead gently side to side.
this time just to reconnect with the breath. Just to reground, be present. Reconnect with this space that you've created for yourself. When you're ready to come out, bring your awareness to the fingertips. First, we'll walk them up and come back into that neutral tabletop spine. We're gonna flow through a vinyasa or two. So we'll start by coming into downward dog. Tucking the toes under, sending the hips up high and back, bringing the heels toward the mat, but maybe not touching, that's okay. Bend into the knees if you need to. Flat back is much more important. Once you get here, let's take that right leg up high and then bring it all the way up and through for a low lunge. Just bringing that knee in towards the chest, framing that foot with both hands. We'll keep that back knee lifted. Plant the left palm, drag the right fingertips along the outside edge of the right leg and up toward the ceiling. Just finding that spinal twist. Notice what you feel. And then cycle that hand back down, frame that right foot. Send it back for plank. Slowly lower to the belly. Press up for cobra. Melt it back down. Hips up high and back for downward dog. And we'll do the same thing on the second side. So plant that right foot, lift that left leg up high. Bend into that knee, bring it all the way up and through. Frame it with both hands. Coming into that easy twist on the second side. So plant the right palm, left fingertips along the outside edge of the left leg. Opening up toward the ceiling. Notice what you feel. Building strength. Cycling that left hand all the way back down to the outside edge of the left foot. Sending that left foot back for plank. Slowly lowering to the belly. Coming into cobra or up dog. Whatever's in your practice. Melting it back down for downward dog. One more time, we'll curl the toes under, press up to plank. Send the hips up high and back for downward dog. Once you get there, we'll plant that left foot in the center one more time. Right foot comes up high, really reaching. Lift the gaze to between the palms, bend into that right knee, bring that right foot all the way up and through. Frame it with both hands. We're gonna open up for warrior two from here. So angle that back foot. So you're pressing into the outside edge, really connecting to the outside edge of that back foot. And then we're gonna lead with the hands, opening up toward that left side for warrior two on the left. Big bend in that right knee, building strength. From here, we're gonna press up through that right knee, full extension there. Sink back into the left hip, so you're dropping all of your weight to the back. Arms stay parallel. We're gonna kind of pull them forward like they're on a tightrope. And then bring that right palm to the inside edge of the left ankle, left palm toward the ceiling. Notice what you feel, find your focus, find your balance. And cycle that left arm all the way back down. Frame that right foot, pivot on the back foot, send the right foot back for plank. And flow through your vinyasa, slowly lower to the belly. Press up for cobra or up dog. Melt it back down. One more time in downward dog, so press up for plank, hips up high and back. And we'll do the same thing on the second side. Plant that right foot, left leg up really high. Bend into that left knee, lift the gaze, coming all the way up and through to plant that foot. Frame it with both hands. Pivot on the back foot, pressing into that outside edge, setting your foundation for warrior two. And then hinging at the hips, leading with the hands, you'll open up to the right, sinking nice and low in that left knee. Building strength. Take a second here, and we'll extend through that left knee, sink back into that right hip. Let your arms pull forward toward the top edge of the mat, and then bring that left hand to the inside edge of the left ankle, right hand toward the ceiling. Notice what you feel. And then swing that right arm all the way back down. Frame that left foot. Pivot on the back foot. We'll send that left foot back for plank. Slowly lower to the belly. Press up for cobra. Melt it back down. Press up for plank one more time. And then lower the knees to the mat. We're going to come into puppy pose and catch our breath. So knees under the hips, chest, forehead down toward the mat. Fingertips or palms on the mat. Make it as active or as passive as you'd like. So you might just want to rest here, catch your breath, feel this nice stretch through the shoulders. Or you can make it more active by engaging the lower abdominals, rolling up a little higher on the forehead, and just pressing the armpits down toward the mat. So two very different sensations. Take what you need, it's your practice, and let go of everything else. When you feel good here, you feel reconnected with the breath and your mantra. You can walk the hands into under the shoulders. We're going to come into a forearm plank, but just as a transition. So you can spend as much or as little time in that plank as you want to. But it is really good for building strength in the shoulders and upper back. So to come into the forearm plank, you'll come onto the elbows and forearms with palms facing downward. And just extend through the legs, through the hips, through the low body in a plank. Okay, so once you're there, you can stay there, you can practice, you can build strength. We're going to use this as a transition into dolphin pose. So to do that, we're just going to walk the feet up, kind of like a downward dog, but we're going to keep the arms where they are. So same thing, this is also going to build strength in the shoulders and the upper back. These isometric holds are really great for conditioning the other muscles as well. So go ahead and find whichever one of those poses you want to hold in and explore. Challenge yourself, be curious, practice non-attachment. And when you've had enough, keep the forearms as they are and just slowly lower to the belly for Sphinx, opening up through the chest. Take your time getting there. So we're going to try, from Sphinx, we're going to try two different poses that stretch through the backside body, the posterior chain a little bit, but actually the front of the body too. So the first one is going to be locust, and for that one we're not going to be touching anything with the hands or feet. We're just going to come onto the belly, cycle the arms around behind you like, I don't know, like like you're a penguin and you're sliding down a hill on your belly. So with the arms behind you, you're going to point the toes, engage the quads, and lift the legs off the mat. And then we're going to do the same thing with the arms here, just pulling the shoulders back, opening through the chest, really lifting. This is locust pose. So just notice what you feel, notice what's engaging. Stay present in those sensations, stay connected with the breath, stay long through the spine, and release when you're ready. So next we're going to come into bow pose. So we're going to bend into both of the feet and grab the outside edges of both feet. This is one you're familiar with, but essentially we're going to create that intra-abdominal pressure to protect our organs in our abdomen, and then we're going to press the feet up toward the ceiling and oppose the feet with the hands and vice versa. Notice what you feel. Challenge yourself a little bit and melt it back down when you're ready. From here we'll come into our chest opening stretch. So come back to the belly in your Sphinx pose, and then move that left elbow to the outside edge of the left side of your mat. Use your right palm to guide the right hip to the top of the left one. You're stacking hips, knees, and ankles here. Right palm somewhere roughly under the shoulder. Just press into the fingertips here. Notice what you feel. Start stretching through that left side chest. As actively or as passively as you want to. Remember, you can always bring that right foot behind you, pulling that right knee open if it feels good. But we're not forcing anything here, just enjoying being present in the stretch, in the pose. Take this time to reconnect with the breath and the present moment. Notice what's distracting you, if anything, and try to let it go. When you're ready, you can extend up through the legs. Come back onto the belly. Take your time in your transition and move to the second side, only when you're ready. You can start by coming into Sphinx pose, bringing that right elbow to the outside edge of the right side of the mat, and then putting the left palm under the left shoulder and just using it to guide that left hip on top of the right, stacking the knees, hips, and ankles. Again, just pressing into the fingertips or the palm, noticing what you feel. Respecting the body wherever it is today. Take your time here. And when you're ready to come out, do so mindfully. Start by moving that left palm, extending through the legs, rolling onto the belly, pressing up to tabletop. And from here, we're going to come into Gomukhsan, or cow face pose, or shoelace pose, shoestring pose, whatever you want to call it. So we did this last week or the week before, but to get into this pose, you can start by bringing one knee forward and swinging that foot over to the opposite side of the mat. So I'm bringing my left knee forward and bringing my left foot over toward the right edge of the mat. So from there, I'll just tuck the right knee in behind the left and do the same thing with that other foot, bringing that right foot over to the left edge of the mat. Okay, once they're in there securely, you can just use the hands to walk yourself back. And if one side is totally inaccessible, feel free to try it on the other side. Once you're there in Gomukhsan, feel free to grab your feet if you want to. I always recommend that. But you can also take eagle arms here to stretch through the upper back and continue with that theme. If you want to do that, open up the palms wide, bring the palms toward one another, and then once one arm passes under the other, you'll bend at the elbows and take a bind with the palms or forearms, creating that pull through the upper back. From here, you'll lift the elbows on your inhale. On your exhale, let something go, curl inward, relax the head and neck, and sink into this stretch. For a more passive version of this, you can also just take your pillow, bring it to your lap, cuddle your pillow, relax the head and neck. Find what you need. Take your time in this pose. When you're ready to come out, follow your inhale, curl up through the spine, release the arms if you're in a bind. And from here, we're going to come into half Lord of the Fishes pose. So if your left knee is on top, you'll take the opposite. Well, if your left knee is on top, swim the left arm behind you, plant the fingertips, lift up, twist, pull that left shoulder back. Opposite directions if your right knee is on top. Once you're there, you'll raise the right hand toward the ceiling and bring that right elbow to the outside edge of that left knee, just to continue on into this spinal twist. You can also just bring your hand here and gently pull if it's easier. When you're ready to come out, do so mindfully. We'll come back through center and unravel, and then we'll set up on the second side. So to do that, come back to that neutral tabletop spine, or neutral spine and tabletop. We'll bring the opposite knee forward this time. In my case, it's the right knee. I'm going to swing my right foot toward the left edge of the mat, and then pull that left knee in to tuck it right behind the right knee. Slide that left foot over to the right side of the mat, and walk the hands backwards for Gomukhsan. Once again, feel free to just take a deep breath, relax the head and neck and curl inward, or open up the palms, come into eagle arms, maybe choose the opposite bind in the arms this time. Lift the elbows on your inhale, let something go, curl inward on your exhale. Take your time here. Feel free to come out when you're ready and only when you're ready. By following your inhale, slowly curling up, unraveling the arms, opening up left to right. And then we'll come into the half Lord of the Fishes on the second side. I'll start by planting my right fingertips behind me on the right. And either just bring your left hand to the top of the left knee and gently pull into that twist, or bring that left hand toward the ceiling, left elbow to the outside edge of the right knee, and use your elbow to pull you into that twist. Either way, you're not forcing anything, nice and open through the chest, pulling that right shoulder back, reconnecting with the breath.
When you're ready to come out, do so gently, mindfully, coming back through center. Feel free to just unravel the legs with your hands or center yourself on the mat. However you get there is fine. Okay, so if you want to use yoga blocks, keep them close by. We're going to come into a bound angle pose, and there's an opportunity to support the spine and the head with the block. So you can do that if you want to. But first, we'll come to our backs to come into a bridge pose. And when we're working on this bridge pose today, I want you to bring your mind's eye or bring your awareness to the upper back and just what's happening there, if anything. So coming into bridge, soles of the feet are both on the mat, knees are bent, palms facing downward, arms are fully extended, spine is nice and long. From here, we're going to press into the heels, move with the breath to gently raise the hips toward the ceiling, maybe walking the shoulder blades under the cervical spine a little bit. So if you do that, your palms might open up toward the ceiling, and that's fine. We're just going to slowly connect with the breath, move at your own pace. We're going to lower and raise this bridge a few times. Just notice what you feel and where. Move at your own pace. Raising the chest toward the ceiling, chin toward the ceiling, and then chest toward the chin. So you should extend a little bit further each time. We'll just do one or two more. And when you're ready, slowly lower to the mat. This is where there's an opportunity for support. If you want to use your yoga blocks, you can set yourself up for one block behind the head and one along the cervical spine or between the shoulder blades, pretty much. So take your time setting yourself up for that if you want to do that. Either way, we're going to come into a bound angle pose. So you can also just put your pillow under your head if that's easier. But we'll bring the lower body with soles of the feet together in toward the hips. And yeah, you're just going to walk back onto spine onto this vertical block wherever it's comfortable. Take your time, and then bringing that other block just under the head to support that. Once you get that block centered on the spine, you can go ahead and relax the palms, let them open up left to right. And same thing with the knees. Let the knees fall away from one another. Let your body know it's okay to relax. We're going to finish out the practice here, so take your time just to settle in and get comfortable. Starting to absorb the nutrients of your practice. Working on practicing non-attachment. Thinking of non-attachment, oh sorry kitty, you're really just thinking about allowing the outcomes that the universe already has in store for you and letting go of your idea of success or of what the right path is for your life and just being open. So just being able to accept that the outcomes that you want you may never get. But being open to the experience of being human nonetheless. recognizing that suffering is an inherent piece of the human experience, but that we can minimize, reduce, and avoid suffering by practicing non-attachment. That can also apply to the physical body, which of course we respect and appreciate, but which is also temporary. Practicing just being open to whatever the universe has in store for you. Take some time to come back to the breath, regain your focus if your mind starts to wander. Practice non-attachment to your thoughts, and remain present in this moment. If this pose is uncomfortable, you can move on to Shavasana, our final resting pose. Or we can close the practice here. Feel free to stay here as long as you like. Before I close the practice, I'd like to do a quick land acknowledgement, recognizing that I am currently teaching from former Monongahela, Osage, and Erie lands. So we respect and honor the sacrifices and the struggles of the indigenous folks who occupied this land before us. We recognize that those struggles are ongoing and that our struggles are all connected. If you want to bring your palms together to rest gently between the eyebrows or on the forehead or at the third eye, feel free to do so. I'd like to close this practice first by recognizing that yoga is an ancient spiritual tradition tied to the culture of the subcontinent of India. So we respect and honor that as the source of this knowledge. We also recognize that yoga is many things to many different peoples of the world, including a community. I thank you so much for being part of my community today. I hope you got what you needed here today, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste. Jenny, you're crazy. You're crazy.